Think like a man, move like a woman. If you show up like a ray of sunshine, ready to please and serve him in every way, you'll have peace at home and passion in the bedroom. That sounds great, but when you're an older woman like I am, you've lived, loved, and lost in the game of life. You've tried so many more times than you've succeeded that you know that the 1950s version of a saccharine sweet woman who is always ready to please her man is a bunch of crap. Now my will to fight for something better is getting quieter and quieter. A small house in the middle of nowhere that has very few people around is beginning to sound like heaven. Why do I feel this tired? Because I've tried just about everything. I went along to get along, which leaves you not respected, and you quickly see that the people who are trying to be like you are not that great either. I got a job and lived on my own. Pretty sweet, but I bought into the idea that I wasn't complete unless I was part of a couple. I learned in detail all about the interests of the men I loved. This meant I learned a lot of things, but I gave up too many of my own interests at the same time. World travel was a genuine upside to taking on someone else's interests, but little else was truly worth losing myself. Then I did what I see so many women do. I tried to be just like a man. I started by talking like a truck driver. This was easy, since I have a few in the family and I was raised around farmers and blue-collar men. In a way, this one is more like me than not. I had meaningless conquests. While the thrill of targeting someone and then getting them to ask you out on a date or whatever pre-chosen action I had in mind was confidence building, it wasn't true to my nature because it's mean, and I looked for other ways to be like a man. All in all, my attempts to be like a man weren't a success. The biggest and most painful failure of them all was trying to talk to men in a way that they would understand me. When you're in a committed relationship, you're supposed to work together and work things out, or so I thought. I'd explain my approach to a problem from every angle. I'd talk in circles while he continued to be or act confused, leading me to talk louder, trying to make it make sense to him. It usually ended up with me in tears while he felt justified in tooting me out. Eventually, I just shut down because I didn't feel he wanted to truly know what I thought or felt. I saw an article this week about women in South Korea who are doing the same thing. They're completely shutting men out of their lives. It's called the 4B movement. No dating, no sex, no marriage, no children. I get the appeal. In many ways, it would be easier. Then I saw the Women in Male Fields article where fictional men are mocked as women turn around the things that have been said to them onto the guys in their lives. While it was made up, the idea still hurt my heart so much I didn't want to keep reading. People being cruel to someone who is having strong emotions is taking the worst of this world and adopting it as their own. It's apparent to me that both approaches are women trying to beat men at their own games. But you'll never outman a man. Nor do we want to. Being like a man is futile. Even if you win one battle, you'll never win the war. I believe both sides would rather find a way to end the war altogether, which is why thinking like a man can be valuable. If you think through the ways he navigates his life, you can identify what motivates him. You realize what are safe and acceptable routes for men to express themselves. You'll realize that they see us doing the woman thing and their alarm bells go off. They don't feel safe. However, I want to circle back to discuss the value of being that emotionally messy person in the room. No one likes to be that person who's in tears when everyone else seems to be handling everything well. But I've learned a few things during the decades of my life. The people who get emotional first, the ones who seem like too much, are usually the people who are seeing the truth more quickly and more deeply. The overwhelm, the stuffy nose, the red blotchy face, they're not signs of weakness. They are signs that the person is processing all angles of a situation so acutely that it brings them to tears. The thoughts of the worst outcomes swing wildly between the thoughts of the best outcomes, and the gap in between feels like you're swimming in a giant tidal wave that you can't possibly survive. I am that person. And here's one upside I've learned when you're the person who makes others uncomfortable with your big feelings. You get to see who stays and who runs. Who offers safety versus who takes notes to use it against you later. Sometimes you do have to learn to tone it down in the moment, and we'll talk about that in later issues, but having and expressing big feelings is not a trait I recommend we abandon as humans. These emotions leave you in a tough place. The place where your body knows the truth first, but you still need to find a way to communicate a message clearly and logically between you and your man. My own experience unexpectedly taught me that there is another way. There is a language that both men and women can understand. It's the language of the heart, and it's a bridge between the masculine and the feminine, whether within yourself for a sense of inner peace or externally to project a sense of calm. It is a way to keep your composure while continuing to process the emotions swimming around inside of you. The common language, the bridge to understanding, it's sensuality. I say it in my classes, and I truly believe it. Being sensual is the most masculine thing you can do. I felt this in my body before I ever read about it and understood it. Why is being sensual the most masculine thing you can do? Why is it the closest thing to being like a man? Because experiencing life fully while being comfortable and confident in your body is the number one behavior of men. When men walk into a room, they aren't scanning for safety or to see how they can meet everyone else's needs. They walk into a room with the sense that they belong there. Let me give you an example. Recall a time when a woman walked into a room and everyone turned to look at her. Not because of what she was wearing or because she announced herself, but rather because she was felt as she entered. Most of the people in the room will stop, turn their head toward her, smile gently, then go back to what they were doing. It's as if they detected a ray of light that flooded the room as the sun shifted on the horizon. In this case, that woman is thinking like a man and moving like a woman. She is self-possessed. She has complete confidence that she belongs in that room, and she has complete comfort with who she is in the world. That is powerful, especially in a world that values the ability to get attention. Here's the catch. You can't do it for performance. It needs to be from a place of wholeness. You need to feel complete, and from that state, you project a sense of self-love. You project, I can handle myself, and I have no need to ask you to be anything different than you are. It is presence, allowing presence. Try it now. Think about yourself walking into a room with a sense of wholeness. Can you feel your spine straighten and your heart expand? I had to figure out what that was after I felt it in my body, so I went searching. In the dictionary, coherence was the closest thing I could find. Coherence is the state of being systematically or logically connected or consistent. It's the quality of forming a unified whole. It went on and said that in essence, coherence refers to various parts working together to bring about sense and meaning. The synonyms of coherence included words like balance, connected, consistent, unity, and harmonious. Then I stumbled upon HeartMath.org and their definition of coherence. They define it as clarity of thought, speech, and emotional composure. Bingo! That connected the dots for me. Sensuality allowed me to bring my body and my mind into alignment. It was the way for me to still access my heart while feeling the emotions so that I could have clarity of thought and speech while maintaining composure. Now, isn't that the way we want to be during our tough conversations? It is for me. The irony is that when you are in your heart, not your brain, you look and sound logical to him. Why? Because you moved the day's problems to their rightful place somewhere outside of yourself. By connecting with your heart first, you put the relationship needs first before those external needs. The heart-to-heart connection between the two of you brings sense and meaning where there was none before. You have a much better chance that he will hear what you're saying from this way of relating. He's been trained to treat your tears as mental warfare and your roundabout conversations as nagging. What we've been taught is that our emotions are weak and that our sensuality is seduction, when none of the above are true. Being playfully sensual offers him a doorway he didn't even know existed. So if we rework the 1950s version of a relationship into a possibly functional version, I'd say it would be something like, If you show up as a whole and complete version of yourself who's accepting of exactly who she is without the need to change you or him while connecting heart to heart, he'll hear you. Then and only then do you have a shred of hope for a peaceful home and long-term passion in the bedroom. Harmony inside yourself is the beginning. Unity, not subservience, in the relationship is the goal. I know you are sick and tired of doing the right hard work and that living alone may feel much easier to you too. But if you're a woman who still wants to have a relationship with men and you'd like a little inspiration to find your inner calm between living life as a woman while needing to be productive in a world designed for men, let my failures help you. Learn to tune to your own heart frequency, then put it to its intended use to find harmony inside and unity outside. Here's a truth the world won't tell you. Women who are turning off their emotions aren't winning. They're hurting their own hearts just as much. The question society doesn't want you to ask: why were we taught to give our hearts away instead of taught to love ourselves? A man whose heart I hurt once told me, you need to learn to walk the path of a peaceful warrior. And that, my friends, is a story for another time. One about finding your strength without losing your softness. Until next week, be free of emotional burdens. Be happy for others. Tammy.